All right, and we are live. We are here to talk about episode 5 of Loki. So I'm Kaylee, and I have my friend April from Thrifty Nerdy Mom here with me today.
Hello.
Yes, and April, your channel links are down below, as well as your Etsy shop link. I finally got the Etsy shop link in there this time. I usually just mention it, and then I don't have it. I think I got it in there this time. So
Yay.
Go Kaylee for that. Yeah.
Good job.
Oh, are y'all done with Hershey Park?
Hey, Katie.
I was telling April backstage, I was like, Tim and Katie probably won't be able to make it because they're at Hershey Park. So don't feel like you have to do this while you're at Hershey Park. Although it's like 6 o'clock y'all's time, so maybe y'all are done. But yes, I just told April, I just did my reaction video. Oh yeah, Gator. Let me just show April for 1 second. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Look at those ears.
I'm so glad she mentioned those because I'm like obsessed with these right now. I saw this fabric at Walmart and I was like, it has to happen. So Gator Loki ears. And that was like one of my favorite like variants of the episode, honestly.
Yes. Which I just rewatched most. I didn't make it through all the way through. I was trying to do a rewatch, and then I had seen like an Easter egg video between my reaction and now, and it was so like I came to appreciate Gator Loki even more the second time around. I really did. Oh, and Morgan's here too. She said she's in line with Tim and Katie waiting for a ride.
Oh yeah, I forgot all three of them were going together.
I did too. I mentioned Tim and Katie were there, but I was like, yeah, Morgan's there too. I completely forgot. Which Morgan, you've seen this episode too, but you guys, y'all don't, I know y'all are still busy, so y'all don't have to interact too much. Oh, Steve says Gator Loki movie confirmed.
That would be great.
I really love it. I was actually the Easter egg video I watched. The guy who did that Easter egg video was talking about how Gator Loki was the superior Loki. And he's like, you cannot change my mind. I was like, I don't know. Which let's talk. Okay, first, before me, I like to go in order in a sense, and then like it just never works out. So we're not going to go in order with all this chat. We're just going to kind of chat about the episode. But the first thing I want to say is I am not wearing my President Loki shirt. Are you wearing yours? Because it looks like you might be. We almost could have matched. I did wear it. I just also filmed Year of the Ear. Mm-hmm. And I did wear it for that because this month's Year of the Year is Marvel. So I wore it for that. But let me tell you, I was kind of like, I don't know. I was like, I feel like I just got to go green because Loki's had a lot of revelations this episode, and he's a good boy this episode. And like the President Loki was not as good. So I was like, I gotta go for the good side. Oh, Tim said if Kang the Conqueror isn't the big bad in the next episode, I will riot. And he said hashtag Mephisto all over again. Hashtag Tim is Mephisto. Well, this is actually me and April had this conversation right before we went live. And she was asking me who I thought was in the castle. And I was like, I said Kang the Conqueror. You think it's a Loki? I'm not sure. I just feel like at the end of the day, I feel like it will lead back to Kang the Conqueror. Whether or not Kang the Conqueror is in there or not, I think we're going to that storyline. And we'll get into Easter eggs later. I want to talk about kind of other things before we get to the Easter eggs. But because I pulled a Tim and Katie and I watched an Easter egg video. Because I don't know anything about the comics. So that was a lot of fun. Also, yes, Katie, we had a missed opportunity here on my part.
I didn't tell her I was going to wear it, so
no. And I've been wearing it, and then this episode, after realizing that like my Loki that I've come to, I like all the Lokis, okay, but my Loki is not the President Loki. I was like, I just got to go green. Like he's turning into a softer version of himself, a better version. So I'm wearing the softer green today for my boy. I
was excited that there was like another Tom Hiddleston Loki.
Yes. So that was interesting.
Cool.
That was interesting too, that they did that. And then like everyone else was very different. Mm-hmm. So I wonder how that one maybe they're twins or something. that would be a hilarious plot twist there. But I really enjoyed it. Who do you think was your favorite Loki of the Lokis that we saw?
I don't know.
Other than Sylvie and our Loki, of course.
They don't count because
they don't count. They're the
headliners.
Yeah.
I loved Gator Loki, which inspired the ears, but I also really, really loved older Loki.
Yes.
He seemed older and wiser and even more powerful than we have really seen Loki before. So I really enjoyed him too. So it's kind of a toss up between the two. I still loved the President Loki, just the look in general and stuff like that. That was, I don't know. I loved all the Lokis. They just made me very, very excited.
Yes, Steve. Yes. That was that was like one of my favorite moments in the entire, probably in the entire show. It probably would be in top 10 when I do the entire, like if I had to pick the entire show favorite moments. I need to do that video, my like top 10 favorite Loki show moments. But
there's so many moments.
There are, but I think it really would have to be in top 10 for me. Watch me go back and not have it in top 10. But, I love that part where he says glorious purpose. And he is just so like, he's not even scared. He's just laughing and just like I don't know. It's just I don't know. It was just a beautiful moment. I feel like he did a good thing. He ended on a good note with, because that was kind of an overarching thing this episode. Like the kid Loki said, every time we try to do something good, we're sitting here and like you can't ever, like a Loki can't do good, really. They're trying to be, they're written as like the bad guy. It's kind of like if you did like Once Upon a Time, there was a whole like plot line in Once Upon a Time, spoiler alert a little bit, but like there was a whole plot line where it was like the villains can't have a happy ending, right? Like the villains have to be
sad.
Yeah, like that was the whole like plot line of these villains wanting a happy ending, but because like the writer was behind the scenes, the writer wasn't ever going to allow them to have a happy ending. And so that's kind of the vibe I was like feeling with this timekeeper. The timekeeper is like, no, like Loki is meant to die and Loki is meant to be like not a good character. And so like, I think, and that was an interesting point that I took from it. I don't know how you took it, April, but I thought, I thought for some of the Lokis anyways, like our classic Loki, like he was going to try to go back and find Thor. Like he was going to try to reconcile with Thor, and he missed his brother and he missed his family. And so I felt like for him, like, and then he got taken away because he was meant to stay dead. I feel like that's partly like maybe, I don't know where I was going with that. I was trying to think of like the whole like quote that the kid said of like, every time we try to do good and change, they send us here. But then I'm like, well, he killed Thor though. So I don't know if that's like proving my point or disproving my point. Cause like he killed Thor. So
maybe he regretted it afterwards, like it's
he though? Did he? Because that voice when he said I killed Thor, I was kind of like, I don't think he
just like deadpanned it and was like, I killed Thor.
No. Yeah, and that's Morgan's question, says, what did we think about his Nexus event being killing Thor? I was shocked, and I was also shocked that they let him be the rule, like they let him be in charge. I guess because he killed Thor.
Maybe he's like that kind of crazy and they're afraid to cross him or something. But like, I'm not surprised that there's a Nexus event of where he killed, which I mean, the Nexus events, when we saw with Sylvie could be like just anything's like off, which is stupid. But I'm not surprised that there's a Loki Nexus event where he decides, I'm just going to kill Thor.
Yeah.
But it's sad a little bit too.
Well, there was, this kind of goes into an Easter egg, but I know like there was someone that was saying on one of the videos I watched that like the comic version, there was a comic storyline where something about like a young Thor had like dared Loki to kill him or something like that. And Loki didn't do it in that timeline. And this is like a timeline where he did. And so, I mean, obviously we don't know the whole backstory of that. We don't know like why.
That would make sense though.
Or like, yeah. So but a lot of this too, like it seems to have pretty strong like comic book roots, like a lot of what Marvel does.
Yes.
So
yes.
No, Tim and Katie, you are not forgiven for dropping it. No, I told April, I was like, no one comes, that's totally fine. Like I can just talk about Loki and Flail and I'm okay with that.
I knew you would. I like thought about you this entire episode while watching it. I was like, oh my gosh, Kaylee's loving this.
It was a good episode. It was a good episode. Let me just tell you guys, I went ahead and pre-ordered the Loki and Sylvie Funko Pops. I'm not as crazy about the Loki one, but the Sylvie one, I was like, I must have it.
I pre-ordered the Loki one for sure, but I may have to go back and pre-order the Sylvie one too after watching.
I think they had to have just released it or something because I looked
recently.
Like I had looked. I think it was a week or two ago. I had looked and there was just Loki, and they also have a Mobius one. I did not pre-order Mobius. I'm sorry, Owen Wilson. I did not. And they also had one of Ravonna and Miss Minutes.
And yes. Yeah. If it was Miss Minutes by itself, I would really like her, but I'm not really like. That's probably why they have Miss Minutes with her.
I have some. I'm not going to say. Well, I will say later on if you want. I have some things about Ravonna that I found out in my Easter egg. I don't want to spoil anything thus far. So, kind of working through the episode a little bit before we just devolve into probably flailing on my part. What did you think of overall the vibe between our Loki and like all of the other Lokis? And did anything surprise you about all the scenes of him with the other Lokis, and what did you kind of like about it? Just in general, what did you think?
I mean, I just liked seeing all the Lokis.
Yeah.
But it makes you wonder why like all the Lokis are still there. And you don't really see anyone else except for like Frog Thor, which is
that was so good. I loved it.
But like as far as like walking around, which I mean, they do mention that Loki survived, which makes you also think, Mobius. But I don't know. I really like that scene. I love seeing all of them. Obviously, like the ones that were there, like chill and like letting people fight about it, and they just like head towards the back. And I don't know.
Yeah, he seemed very well. It kind of reminded me of him in like the first Thor movie, where he's just so chill and he's just kind of in the background. And that's what I kind of like took from him. And he almost is like rolling his eyes at them fighting and just being like, oh, please, just like this is the ridiculousness of it. So I thought that was I don't know what Steve was talking. Oh, anyways. Yeah, I liked that. I saw in the little Easter egg thing, one of my favorite things I saw was talking about, in like the fight scene when they're escaping away from like all the Loki badness, literally Kid Loki and Alligator Loki do the get help. He like throws the alligator and
he does.
Yeah, they do the get help.
It's that one.
Yeah, no, I saw that's like he's like they literally do the get help because he just throws the alligator at him.
I'm gonna have to oh my god.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool. Yeah, Tom says he likes Thor and stuff, but his favorite has to be X-Men. I do like X-Men a lot too. So that's a lot of fun. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm still very confused about the whole alternate timeline thing and things like that. But I thought it was very interesting. I loved that Kid Thor's throne looked like a Christmas like Santa setup. It was very like almost like Candyland. There was like all these there were bowling balls everywhere, and it looked like
it was in a like bowling alley.
Yeah. It was very interesting.
I liked it too. Like, it was very, like, just as a kid, if you were going to rule something, that's what you would want.
It was very kiddish. It was very kiddish, for sure. For sure. Okay, so then let's talk about, okay, well, I'll go ahead and do Steve's comment because it just came in. He says, it's going to be the prime Loki in the castle. There's so many scenes in the trailer they haven't shown. Hopefully they are just throwing us off. I actually have only seen the trailer one time, so I don't remember anything. So I'd have to probably go back and rewatch it.
There is I think it was the mid-season trailer where Loki stands up and he's going like this. And I feel like that was a reshoot because if you look, there's not that many people like sitting in front of him. So I feel like that was a reshoot like during COVID. And so it may be just something they're throwing in to throw people off. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see next week. I'm very, very excited.
Yeah, I'm excited to just kind of find out. Like I said, I have a lot of vibes it's going to lead towards Kang the Conqueror in some way, but I would still be interested to see another Loki be in the castle too. We were unfortunately wrong about one of our theories, April, that we know of right now, and that is Mobius being the Loki variant. We don't know for sure he's not.
Don't know that yet, though.
But we're still this episode, I was kind of like, I don't know if he is or not at this point.
You only see Loki variants surviving.
That's true. That's true. So, I mean, our theory is still like, it still has a little bit of wiggle room there, for sure.
Yes, just slightly.
Yes. Tom's really missing Stanley.
Supposedly in the first episode, there is a small little callback to Stan Lee and the art.
Yeah,
I
actually heard that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I liked how they did that since they don't really do cameos anymore. I think they released this week. So, there's an article saying that they're going to out of respect for him. They're not going to do any more cameos, but they at least put him a little bit in the film or in the series.
Hey, Jeanna Claire.
Hey, Jeanna
Are you caught up? I hope you're caught up this week.
I hope she is too.
Tom says he hasn't seen Loki yet. It is good. And you're probably going to be very spoiled because this is we're talking about the next to last episode. So I can't promise you will not be spoiled. I actually do think I remembered to put spoilers on the description this time, which is rare for me. Usually I'm like, I feel like you gotta know. Okay, but moving on to Mobius and Sylvie. We got some Mobius and Sylvie scenes this episode, which I really enjoyed, actually. I did. I still would have loved to have that scene of him telling her about, the Nexus event thing, but it's okay. What did you think of them?
Oh my goodness. I really like them together. But I feel like Marvel's pushing it too fast just because there's only 6 episodes.
Oh wait, I'm talking about Mobius and Sylvie.
Oh, Mobius. I forgot. Mobius and Sylvie were great together.
They're pushing it too fast. They should have never been in that car together.
I was trying to think what I was going to say, and I forgot you said Mobius.
It's okay.
The car scene, though, was great because it built a little bit relationship between, and now Jeanna Claire's all cut up, so
yay.
But the car scene was just really, really cute because it established a relationship between Sylvie and Mobius, and just like the little, jumping ahead a little bit, the little end scene where he goes, "You're my favorite." That I love that. That was the best. Yeah,
I really loved that end scene where he's like, "You're my favorite." That was probably one of my favorite moments for sure. I like that scene too where she's talking to Loki and she tells him, he cares about you. And that was a beautiful moment for her to tell Loki that, because I feel like she kind of knows that they're similar in a way, because Loki doesn't have anyone, especially everyone who cared about him is pretty much gone, as far as he knows right now. Thor, his dad, and his mom, you know. And so she's like, he cares about you. And that was a really sweet moment. I loved it. It was, I mean, we didn't get a whole lot of like Mobius and Loki this episode, as much as I would have wanted, but I think that really added a lot to the Mobius and Loki friendship too, having Sylvie, you know, recognize like he really does care about you. So I thought that was sweet.
It's like the Three Musketeers type thing. Like
Yes.
All for one and one for all type of thing. I like them as like a little group.
Like a team. I'm gonna be very disappointed in the future if we do not get a Mobius, Loki, and Sylvie team thing going on. Like I need them to be, honestly, I need them to have like a Falcon and Winter Soldier type series thing going on where it's like, you know, Mobius and Loki and Sylvie are kind of like the Falcon and Winter Soldier with Zemo, like kind of doing their thing. Like I think that
they're hanging out on a beach, like Loki and Sylvie,
yeah.
watching like Mobius do his jet ski thing.
Yeah, right. And I mean, Loki's dancing like Zemo, so I mean, you know, singing. So we got that going on. I would like to actually see Zemo and Loki at a dance off. I think that would be what the people want, right?
Yes, I want it so bad.
Yes. Okay, so is there anything else? Like, I know we're going to get to Easter eggs and talking about our predictions and stuff. Is there something else? I'm trying to think because I watched it today. I'm like, I guess we can talk about Ravonna and Miss Minutes and, you know, I think she's still going to be kind of a bad guy at the end of this, or she's going to want to be on whoever is like created the TVA. Like if it turns out to be Kang or this other Loki, like she's going to stay on that side. So I think I don't know. I mean, what do you think they're going to go with her? Do you think she'd be like, I don't think they're going to kill her off next episode. I think she'll still be around, but what do you think?
I don't know. I don't think they'll kill her off, but I don't think she's like super important or anything. She's definitely not the big bad, I don't think.
No.
I don't know. I just haven't heard much about her like making waves and stuff like that. So I don't think they'll kill her off, but I don't think we'll see much of her after this series.
Well, do you want to know Easter eggs from the comics, or do you want to know? Okay, so I like don't, and this is for the people in the comments too. I think, does Steve read comic books, April? Or does he keep up with the comics?
He doesn't keep up. Well, he keeps up with the comics. Like he reads just as much as I do. So.
Steve Mike can correct me because I might be completely wrong. And this was off of the Easter egg video. So if I'm wrong, blame the Easter egg guy, not me. But basically it said in the Easter egg video that Ravonna, okay, so Ravonna, what is it called? Alioth or whatever, the beast, Alieth, that they enchanted this episode, Loki and Sylvie. So she released that in the comics. It was a mistake because it had been like kind of kept. But she was a love interest for Kang the Conqueror, if I understood correctly. So I feel like that could be like, I don't think she's going to be the forefront of anything coming up, but I feel like she definitely could fit in there and have a place in the evil Kang the Conqueror goings on. You know, I think she's probably going to stick around for a little bit, but not be like the main focus of the bad side.
Steve and I have talked about the whole Kang the Conqueror thing. Even if it's like alluding to Kang the Conqueror, I don't think we're going to see Kang the Conqueror.
Tim's going to be so disappointed.
He's going to be so disappointed. But kind of like how they introduced Thanos. It was like a little bit at a time. Like when Loki was the villain for Avengers. He was behind it, but you didn't really see his face or anything. You just saw like a little bit clip of him at like in credit scene or something. So I don't think we'll see Kang yet, but it may be alluding to Kang.
I feel like it has. Like I feel like even if it has to be like behind the scenes, I'm convinced it is Kang. Like at the very one other thing that was like kind of in the Easter egg video was talking about like the man behind the curtain or whatever. And even if we find out who's in the castle and like who's kind of controlling it right now, I still think the man behind the curtain is going to end up being like Kang the Conqueror at the end of the day. But yes, I was right, or the Easter egg guy was right. I can't take credit for it. I just saw it on a video. So she was Kang's wife. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to be disappointed. Honestly, this series has been so good. I'm not going to be disappointed. I think the only way I would be disappointed in the next episode is if they kill off like Sylvie or Loki or like Mobius, like someone like actually kill off someone that I really like. That's like the only way I'm going to be like upset. Although they could do that. They could do that. And then like, I could just see them like killing off Sylvie and then like Loki going back in time. And like, okay, there's a lot of things I could go with that, but we won't do that this
kill off Tom Hiddleston for good. I'm going to be furious. But other than that, I'll be fine with anything.
I think I wouldn't be happy with Owen Wilson. But Tom Hiddleston and like also Sylvie, I really need to remember her character's name. I was told last time by Megan and I've forgotten it. Isn't her name Sophie maybe in real life? I can't remember. Anyways, I think it's gonna bother me. Hold a second. It's gonna really bother me. Sophia DiMartino. I was close. Okay. I had Sophie. If they kill either of them off, I'm gonna be so upset. Because that leads me into our next thing that we'll go ahead and do. We'll go ahead and flail about Sylvie and Loki. I'm actually going to let you talk first because I have a lot. And I want to just let you have your moment to talk because you're my guest. So I don't want to take your time.
And plus I kind of accidentally said that instead of Loki. But I feel like it's a little forced. Like, not forced, but like Marvel's just speeding it up. And we talked about slow burn. I really enjoy a slow burn, but it's also, I don't know. So there was an interview that Steve showed me where they asked if Loki's ever going to get a love interest. And he talks about truly to love someone else, you have to love yourself first. And it's just really funny that he's in love with another Loki.
It's perfect for him.
It's perfect for Loki. So it is rushed, but at the same time, it feels all right. That blanket scene, I loved it, but it made me cringe just a little bit because Loki was trying so hard.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I can see it. You just need to be a little bit smoother. But when Ravona's going after Sylvie and she's talking about, I can put you in a cell where you do a good moment. And she says, time loop, that I will put you in a nice one. And she's like, I only have one nice memory. And I feel like it's her time with Loki. And it made my heart break a little bit. Because she's been alone for so long and the first person that shows her any type of not affection, but just appreciation, I guess, is Loki. And I don't know. I like them together. I really do.
I do too. Taylor wants it to be Magneto. What?
Okay, so this was the thing. Like, when I saw the castle, I was like, what does that look like, Steve? And he's like, he said something. And I was like, it kind of reminds me of Xavier's school for, the X-Men school. And he's like, well, I don't think it's, Professor X would be behind it. And I was like, what if it's Magneto behind it, though? And I told him I would want it to be Mike Fassbender, Magneto, that was behind it if that does happen, which I don't think it will.
Yeah.
It was just a random.
You never know, April. You never know.
If it's Michael Fassbender and Tom Hiddleston at the same time, I'm gonna be like,
you never know. I swear, you never know because usually you don't, especially I tell you, I've done theories before where I've been convinced and then it's it doesn't happen. But then I say at the beginning of this series, I would kind of like for him to get a love interest, but there is just no way Marvel's going that direction. I just know they won't go that direction. And then every episode I'm literally like, what?
I know.
It's just, yeah, it's Yeah, but I will say, to kind of your point, I do agree, because I'm a big like slow burn fan, and I was thinking to myself, I'm like, wow, okay, this is a tiny bit fast. It's a tiny bit fast, and it kind of like made me be like, oh, I wish it was a little more subtle. I think it's cute because he almost looks like this little like high school boy that has like his first crush, and he like don't know how to like. He don't know how to like hide his emotions, you know what I mean? Like he's just like very like, and it's like himself. And I think he's like excited that he sees like this in him. Like, I don't know. He's just like falling in love, I think, for the first time in his life. And he's just so excited, and he don't know how to like have a poker face in the moment, which is very like funny because it's Loki, and Loki's like one of the more chill, you know, characters that has a pretty decent poker face usually. But one thing that I kind of will say that to me that makes me be okay with the fast pace, and makes me be okay with him being a little less chill. And I know some people are going to just hate it either way. But I take it as, sorry, there's an airplane going over my house. Don't know if you guys can hear that. It got quite loud. Okay. But I took it as, it says a lot in this episode and in last episode. It's kind of hinted at like Loki doesn't want to be alone. Like that's his thing. He doesn't want to end up alone. He's scared to be alone. And I think he realizes too, he says in this episode when she's like, are you going to betray me? Like, how do I know you're not going to betray me? And he's like, I've betrayed every person I've ever loved, and I'm not that person anymore. And I think he's realized, like, he's just opening himself up to it. And like, you know, Mobius telling him, like, you can be good, you can deserve love, you can find love, and things like that. I think he's trying to turn this other leaf, and he's trying to like, to do it, you know, and to find this connection and be genuine with someone, because I think that's been a Loki's problem a lot, is he does have genuine emotion. Obviously, he cared about Thor, and he cared about his dad, and he cared about, oh, they're cutting grass. It's not an airplane. I was like, this airplane is taking forever. Anyway, sorry. I'm just like, I think is this airplane gonna like just crash my house? I'm sorry.
No, you know what happens at our house too. So
yeah, Jeanna Claire says, as a person who got married in 71 days, I'm okay with that. Yeah, and I mean, I think too, we have to think in the context. Okay, like they are on the same side of this war against the TVA, so that kind of puts them, you know, they're just together. They literally were at the end of the world. They literally were the like only two fighting to get to, like, fighting to survive at the end of the world. They're so similar, you know, and I think Loki, you know, it pulled at his little heartstrings a little that she like got taken as a child, and she never knew her parent, like she can't remember her parents that much, and like I don't know, she taught herself all that magic, which I think really like impressed him and things like that. So I think it like makes sense. I think they had the character building there. It just all was so fast, and I feel like because it's such a short show, like they could have spanned that out a little bit more, and I think it would have ended up being the same result. But like it feels rushed, I think, because it had to be a few episodes. But it makes sense to me. I think it makes a lot of sense too, because he doesn't want to be alone, and he cares about her. And I think he also recognizes that, like Kim, she doesn't have anyone, and she said that in this episode. Like she doesn't have anyone, and he doesn't have anyone, and he can be there for her. Anyways, I'm flailing a little, but I love them a lot. You said it made you cringe. I kind of was cringing at his face during the blanket scene, because there's that one scene, that one where he's like,
I was like, just be a little bit smoother. Come on.
I know, but I saw that
face.
I even saw that face a little bit, like in episode, was it 3? It was in Lamentus, when he's like, you taught yourself that magic, and like his face, and when she said love is hate, and he was like, oh, I'm gonna write that down, and then he has that little smirk, and it's like that little cute little, like he was like kind of like, oh, like getting the like the little butterflies. Then I felt like I saw it anyways, and I was like, and then this episode it was like that longer look of him being like having the major crush on her, and she's so chill. She's like, this blanket isn't even that cozy. Like, you could have gotten a cozier blanket. Is it a tablecloth?
It did look like a tablecloth, though. I will say that much.
But I maybe they had to have him be a little more lovey about it, because she's not. Like, she doesn't know. She just never has had. She's never even had anyone, you know. So I feel like she's more like I feel like she has the feelings to him, but she's also like, I don't know how to do this. Like, she says that too. She's like, I don't know how to do that. She said, Jonathan says, I thought that was real. He can't be smooth. He can't. I really liked it, though.
But, like, I've been in love. I'm going to be honest. I've been in love with Loki this entire time. And I don't know. I expect him to be a little bit smoother after seeing him after so long. And he's not.
Yeah.
And it's a little... But at the same time, I see where they're going with that direction, too. So I'm kind of okay with it. But at the same time, it's more Tom Hiddleston than Loki, I feel like, is my only issue with it.
Yeah, I think I can see both sides. Because there is a part of me that was like literally my thought was, okay, that is a bit strong. You know what I mean? That was a bit of a reaction. And like they're really going for this romance. Like, they're not even trying to make it a vague romance plot of like maybe. Like, they went hardcore. I was so shocked. Like, because I mean, in Lamentus we got the vibes, or you know, I did, because I read into a lot of the subtext. But then in like episode 4, playing out, like Owen Wilson's like, you fell for her, you fell for yourself, like all this stuff, and he's like, you know, not really denying it that he did. So I'm like, dang, we're not even putting it like it's a maybe. It's not even a gray area. Like, we're going like full steam in the relationship direction. And I'm shocked that they made that decision. Mm-hmm. I am the subtext queen. I am. I'm very into subtext. Sylvie is pretty hot.
I saw a picture or a post that she put up that the costumers, she was nursing because she was like a new mom, and they build like a special suit for her, that way she can like easily attach it and be able to like feed her baby and stuff like that. That may freak people out, but like I thought it was really cool that they like designed a special costume for her and stuff like that. And she is a hot mom. That's kind of the other part I was gonna say. She's a really hot mom.
Yeah. Jonathan says it happens. Her and her husband were engaged in 3 weeks. I mean, it's not been 3 weeks even for them, but like they survived. It was like the end of the world. And then they're, you know, been on the run, and they're trying to take down the government. I mean, they got a lot going on, and they're, you know, I imagine when that's all happening, you're kind of like, especially when they've never really had anything real. Like they said in Lamentus, I'm playing like devil's advocate over here for let's speed up the relationship.
Do it.
But especially when they said like they've never had anything real, and then they like meet each other, and there's like this like spark there for them. You know, they understand each other, and they sympathize with each other, and they both have had a lot of pain. And I don't know, it's just like different for both of them, I think. And they're, in a way, when you've never, I think, experienced love, I think it happens faster in a sense, because maybe it's like, you know what I mean? Like if you've already done love before, maybe you're a little more hesitant to get back into that, you know, if it didn't end well. But like for them, they're just like, they've never had these feelings, I don't think. So I feel like, especially for Loki, I don't know. He's just very, though. I mean, like, oh my God, like that scene where she comes up in the car and he's like, are you okay? And he's like running to her, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this Loki, it's not what I ever expected, like at all. But I'm kind of liking it. I've got like mixed feelings. But I worry if you don't think it's in character, April, then like, you know, which I know Steve, are you on the chat? Don't be talking to April in person. Just do it.
He was telling me that the mic is popping and he has to kind of fix it later. So,
oh, it's okay.
But no, I don't know about the character. Like, I love them together. I love the romance that's happening. But at the same, just feels more like Tom Hiddleston than it does Loki. And I love Tom Hiddleston, but it's I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm a little mixed feelings about it.
Yeah, and I think that's like understandable. And I feel like too, I mean, I'm a newer Loki fan, and I've seen the Thor movies, and I've seen Avengers with him in it. And and my biggest concern, I said this in my very first live, I was like, my biggest concern going into this is that he was going to be a harsher Loki than what I was used to seeing in Ragnarok and used to seeing in Dark World, because in Dark World, you know, his mother dying was a pivotal point for him, for sure. And being responsible in a way for his mother's death. And I feel like we got all of that, but then we also, in rapid succession, you know, we got him figuring out his mom had died, and we got him finding out, you know, Thor and his dad did love him and did want to be on his side, and you know, seeing his death and realizing that that's all gone and he really can't go back. And then having Mobius be this mentor-like figure, this brother, and to me, sometimes almost like a father-like and reason-like figure to him, and telling him that you can be good. I think he's just really changing a lot in this series. So I think you can argue that what happened here, the way he acted with Sylvie, is not how he would have acted had he not gone through all that in rapid succession. Like if Sylvie would have dropped into Dark World, or if Sylvie would have dropped into Ragnarok, I don't think that this would have been how it would gone at all. Like I think he would have been a lot smoother, and I think he would have done that like playboy. Like I think he still probably would have had feelings for her if she ever gave him the time of day, which she probably wouldn't have if they didn't have to be in the same room, like, you know, but so she probably would have been like, whatever. Like she wouldn't have given him a second glance. I still think he probably would have given her a second glance, but he would have not been the way he is now. But I feel like they've seen so much of each other. Like he talked to her about his mom, and like he found out about her getting taken as a child, and like he just thinks she's pretty awesome because she's trying to take down TVA. Again, I'm just flailing. I'm sorry, but so for me, I think it is rushed, but I can also like say I don't think it would have been this rushed in the normal timeline, but I think you can make a point that I think it could potentially make sense for him to be acting this way in this timeline, even though he could have been a tiny bit more smooth. But I think he's just maybe excited that he's going to like this. I think it's almost like the thing, like when you find love and you're like, is this really happening? Like, I never thought I would find love, but is this really happening? And could I actually be finding love? Like, I think it could be partly that, like where he's kind of just like flailing himself about the fact that he might be
that may be it. I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know. It's like more, and you could be right that it's the timeline. I think Marvel could have taken just a little bit more time and done a couple more episodes.
Yeah.
And not made it so rushed. And I feel like that's part of my problem.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I still love Sylvie and Loki together. That's not my problem at all. But it's just some of the facial expressions that Tom Hiddleston does hurts me.
Yeah.
As Loki.
I feel like there could have been, if there was even just like one more episode, I feel like that would have been good. And it could have made a big difference. Even if there was just one more episode between, like, even, I don't know. I liked the Lamentis storyline a lot. And I don't have a lot of issues with how Lamentis went. But I feel like it was kind of like between Lamentis and then episode 4, which I'm blanking on what the name of episode 4 was.
Was it Nexus?
The Nexus event. That's what it was called. Yeah. So between Lamentis and the Nexus event, I feel like there was a lot of, that was when our rushing really started, because Lamentis was like, but okay, if you would have told me at the end of episode 2 that by episode 4 we would be having this like conversation with Mobius about Loki falling for his variant, I would have been like, no, it wouldn't have happened. So I feel like that's where the rushing really was like kind of too much. And for me even, like, and like you said, the acting I think was almost a little too flailing for Loki, even though I, as a fangirl, do kind of like it in a way. It's a little out of character. I still appreciated it because I love seeing like a strong, like bad boy, manly man, whatever, or like this like guy who tries to be cool. I guess he's not really a manly man. That's more Thor, but he tries to be cool all the time. Like to see him flail a little makes me happy. But I wish there was some way they could have done an episode between Lamentus and the Nexus event. I just don't know what it would have been. But
it still could have happened. They could have just extended a few things and made another episode.
Yeah.
But we're getting what we're getting. I'm not going to complain too much.
I'm not complaining at all, okay? I'm not complaining at all because it still makes me happy. I still think it's adorable. And I still think, even if it was rushed, I still think that the end result is still good for me. And it's okay if you don't. I know, it's okay if you, and I know a lot of people don't agree with it. If Allie ever watches the playback, and she's not on tonight because she's not caught up, but Allie, if you're watching the playback, if I'm wrong about this and you actually enjoyed this plot line, I'm going to be shocked because I have a feeling Allie's going to hate it. I do. And that's okay. Cause I can definitely see why people, especially people who are like more long-term Loki fans, do not like it.
Yeah.
And some people aren't in it. Like, I love the romance aspects. And some people are like, no, Loki did not need a love interest.
Before the show, I would have said the same thing, but I do love him and Sylvie together. Mm-hmm. I think it makes so much sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And I give a kudos to Marvel because Marvel literally made me like Sylvie. And I would have never, I tell you at the end of episode 2, I would have never thought I would like her. I was so upset they were doing the Lady Loki plotline. I didn't want another Loki. I was already confused about the timeline. And I was like, I'm going to hate this. I don't know how. I think I was getting in my head too, because, they're doing like the Thor Love and Thunder. I was getting in my head that like, this is going to replace Tom Hiddleston, I think is really where I was going with it. And I'm like, oh no, they're going to like this is going to be like Tom Hiddleston's last project is kind of how I was thinking of it. Or maybe it is. I don't know.
I'll be so sad if it is.
I mean, they're trying to they're trying to give him a happy ending, I suppose, with this girl. They're trying to be like, let's hurry up and give Loki a girl so we can get him off the screen. But I don't know. I still like it. I still think I say it every episode. I feel like this episode is probably my favorite episode thus far. I don't know though. It's hard. What do you think? Where do you think this episode ranks for you?
Favorite episode? I don't know. I still really, really love episode 1. Mm-hmm. Episode 1 was great, but like with this series and it being so short, I feel like there's moments from every episode that I'm like, oh, this is really my favorite episode. And then like, I really think about it and it's like, really? That's just my favorite moment. Yeah. I don't know. It's a good episode, and it's just they had really good parts, but like they're all kind of equally ranked for me.
Yeah,
because they have all such good moments.
Yeah. No, I agree. I feel like every single week I'm like, this I think has been my favorite episode so far. This has been it. And I think part of it is because like the hype of that week and you're like, oh my gosh, it's a new episode.
Yes.
But because like I remember watching, I kind of watched back. I've been rewatching some of the episodes, and like episode 2, I found out I feel like episode 2 has got to be my least favorite episode, just because I tend to like skip through the second half of that. Like the whole, once I get to the supermarket, I just am like, okay, I can skip through this and go to episode 3, because it just I lose the interest there after a while. Like the rewatchability of it for me was like, okay, so that one has to be probably my least favorite, just because of that.
I like episode 2 though. Like I really like the salt and pepper shakers. Be free, my horned friends, and
I know, but it's the one that I have to skip. I think the end. The end didn't hold up for me. I know, but I love it. I do love the beginning. I just rewatched it earlier today, and I was like, I loved it. so much. Hey Mel.
Hey Mel.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Oh, also Steve, I was not ignoring your comment. He says he was hoping Mobius was a Thor variation, which I could definitely also see. I could see him being like Thor. It'd be hilarious if he would have been like an Odin variation or something like that.
He's some kind of like important variant. He's not just a regular off the street variant. I don't think.
Yeah. Well, I just hope he had a jet ski.
We all do. We want him to say wow. We want him to ride. Maybe the very last, like, there will be an end credit scene where Mobius is riding a jet ski and it goes off and he's like, wow, you know. Maybe.
Oh my gosh, that needs to happen, April.
Let me write for Marvel.
That needs to happen. That is the perfect end scene. That is it. That is it. It is Owen Wilson on a jet ski saying, wow. Like that's it. That's all you get. You don't get any. And then like everyone's gonna be like looking for Easter eggs in that one scene. There are no Easter eggs. It's just him saying wow on a jet ski. That is it. And they're gonna be like looking everywhere in the scene for Easter eggs. There's none. Okay, so really quickly, we only have a few minutes left, and then I'm going to wrap it up. But I did want to talk about a few of the Easter eggs that I saw. Before I do that, do you see any Easter eggs, April, or anything really cool you saw in this episode?
Not really an Easter egg or anything, but I kind of saw someone thought about this. In Ragnarok, Loki enchants Valkyrie. Like he puts his hands up to her head and enchants her to see her memories. So, like, I'm kind of curious if that will come into play this last episode. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, that would be.
He either learned enchanting after the Avengers, or like, it's interesting.
I'm over here thinking, could he go, like, my brain
Did he go, like, back?
Did he go back? Did he go back to, I'm just, okay. No, that's too much. I've read a fan fiction that was similar to that before. Like, when I was in, like, middle school, there was, like, I kid you not, I read a fan fiction that was like that, where, like, they went back in time, and then, like, the girl died, and then like he was in the future, it went back to the future, and he was, anyways, it doesn't probably make sense to you guys, but in my head I was thinking, oh my gosh, this could happen. I did see that on the Easter egg thing where it was talking about he had enchanted before, but since I guess this all happened before Ragnarok, I mean, he might not, I guess, know.
He may have not learned that skill yet.
He might have not learned it. But I mean, I think it's pretty cool that, like, I don't know. I just loved that whole ending. I thought the ending was so good. I loved, to flail for one more moment about
the holding the hands. Yes.
Well, I loved when she's like, we need a diversion. And he goes and he's like trying to do the diversion. Yeah. And then it starts going for her, and he just starts screaming, no. And I'm just dying on the inside because he already thought she was dead once. And he was like, oh, it's fine, whatever. I was going to kill her anyways. But, he was dying on the inside. And, oh, that scene, it, like, my heart. And then, our classic Loki came through for us and was so awesome in that scene. So
I kept going, is that Asgard? That's Asgard.
Yes, it was so good.
Asgard too.
It was so good. And I loved the Loki and Sylvie stuff, but honestly, like, classic Loki, like, stole that. It was so, because it went right into that, and it was so good. So good. They say glorious purpose a lot, but it's okay.
I mean, I feel like that's a thing.
That's a thing.
A thing.
Yeah. That was another. You could say I took it almost as a Loki and Sylvie moment, but also not. When I think it was Kid Loki, I could be wrong, but asked him, like, did you leave your glorious purpose there? And he said, like, something like, he's like, you could say that or something like that. And you could take it as like Sylvie, but I think I also took it as more than Sylvie in that he felt like he was like needed, and he could play this like hero role. He could help Sylvie take down the TVA. And I think that excited him, because that scene where they're like out in the, they're talking, and he's talking to like the kid and all the other Lokis. And he's like, she needs me and we are going to do this. And I was like freaking out, not even just because of Sylvie and Loki, because it's more than that. It's about him feeling like he's like needed to do something good. And he's like, I'm on the right side this time and I'm doing good and I'm needed. And like, I think it just excites him and it's so cute.
I think so too.
So I think it went more than just him and Sylvie, but still love him and Sylvie. Mel says she loves the bond between Sylvie and Loki. It's almost like Loki accepting himself and loving himself as is and appreciating the good in him. Both. I totally love Sylvie and Loki. I do. So she said both is a typo. I do. I really liked. I really did like them. Like I was saying, we were kind of talking a little earlier about it being a tiny bit rushed, but I still think I liked it. I still thought it made sense. I've seen worse relationships, like more rushed relationships that made like zero sense.
True. That is true.
Yeah, at least I think go ahead, April. I'm sorry.
I love both of them like separately, and I love them together. And at the end of the day, I'm glad they're together.
Yeah, I will say the one thing about like going so far in the relationship route, which Marvel did. Marvel went so far, like very defined in the relationship route. I feel like they didn't, like, I don't know. I feel like you take a risk when you do that because then you can't like write it as like, you can't have them just be partners later on and you can't just erase all of what just happened. You can't just erase like all those feelings and the connection. And like, it's just, once you put it out there and you make it so concrete, it's there. So I feel like they're going to have to go down that road, you know, and either have one, like, I don't think they'd ever have him betray her unless like she turned bad, which the Enchantress is kind of bad in the comics. So it could happen. Mm-hmm. He could turn against her, or he could like do it for her own good. I could see that happening, you know, and they've had, like, I've seen storylines like that before, but I feel like they can't just like not do anything about this relationship in the future. If they do, I'm gonna be so upset. Like, this cannot end in one episode and them just be like, oh, we're done with Sylvie and Loki forever. And it's
if they're going in the route of her being the Enchantress, I think Tom Hiddleston probably will be killed off, and that's kind of her little spiraling point.
I could see that. I could see that.
Which that's my spiraling point too.
It's like a Wanda and Vision kind of situation. Mm-hmm. I could definitely see it. They would, oh my gosh, like I could just see them literally replace Wanda and Vision. I could just see it. It's like literally, like I could see it being the same sort of thing. Mel says she feels like their love is almost a metaphor for him finally accepting and loving himself, since it's a variation of him. Oh, it's okay. She said she's multitasking. It's fine. It's fine. Typos happen. Yeah, I think that I go back to the love is a dagger speech he gave, where he said it's beautiful. You can see yourself in it. And I think he can see the good like in her, and I think he appreciates the parts of himself that are in her.
Yes.
That's part of what makes him love. I do have one question, and then I will really quickly talk about Easter eggs. We will not go on long about it. But I have one question for you, and this just popped in my head because there's this scene in this episode where Loki was saying that all of the Lokis that were there, so I think he was just with the kid Loki and the alligator and then the classic at this point. I think boastful Loki had already betrayed them. Mm-hmm. And he says, we're all the same, like we're the same or whatever, or we're similar or something like that. But then he said like 2 seconds later, he's like, but she's different. Have you ever met the female variation of us? She's different. And I'm like, okay, so he's like saying they're all the same, but he's like, she's different. There's something different about her. And so that I thought was like very interesting. And I'm like, I don't really know where they're going with this. And like, how is she different? And like, what is I don't know, because like that was a very interesting choice of words for him to tell all the other Lokis that they are so similar, but then like 2 seconds later be like, she's different than us. So I didn't know what to take of that.
So I will say, hearing and looking at all the Nexus events, Like, they all did something to cause Nexus event. Kid Loki killed Thor. Our Loki, took the Tesseract and stuff like that. From the scene of her, she was just playing with toys. Like, she was just sitting there playing for toys, and they took her. And maybe that's what makes her different. She didn't have time to be bad. Like, she's not necessarily a Loki that has caused chaos. And maybe that's how she's different. I'm not sure. And maybe that's why she doesn't want to be called Loki. I don't know. I really don't. Like, I feel like she is different for a reason. And he sees that. But I don't know.
I don't know. He flailed more than I did in this episode. He's just very I don't know. He just really likes her and like her being different, and he sees that. I think that's good for both of them though. And I'm just very interested to see what next episode's like. I hope I don't cry. I feel like it's gonna be, if it's a sad episode, like freaking WandaVision was a rough episode. And I don't want it to be like that. Like, I hope it doesn't go that way. Really quickly, the one Easter egg that I really wanted to say on here was the pyramids. So the pyramids was an interesting Easter egg. So there was one scene, like, they're showing like all these, like this landscape and stuff. And then you see the pyramids, and then there's like the Sphinx, right? And for Kang the Conqueror in the comic books, he had like gone back in time to ancient Egypt, and he was like trying to rule the Egyptians or something, is like what this little Easter egg video said. So they said something about him like time traveling in a Sphinx or something. So I like thought they said that was like an Easter egg to him. So I don't know. I think that's kind of a thing that it could be him. There was some more. I wish I remembered who did that video. I would link it because I've mentioned it probably about 50 times, but I like never watch those kind of videos, and then I was like mind blown. Yeah, I agree, Ajana Claire. She says, I also feel like she needs to be different to justify this relationship. I'm very happy they changed her hair color, is all I'll say. Because child Loki looked a lot like our Loki. The child version of her, and I'm happy they changed her appearance, because I wouldn't have liked her still looking so much like him. I feel like that would have been even worse. There's a line, and I don't know. I honestly don't. I never imagined in my life I would be shipping a variation of two characters together. It's very odd. It works.
I will say, Into the Spider-Verse, if you haven't seen it, watch Into the Spider-Verse. I kind of ship Miles Morales and Spider-Gwen together. They're just really, really cute together, and they're both variations of Spider-Man. So I feel like this has happened before a little bit, maybe. Okay.
I feel better now then. I felt very weird, especially before I knew like anyone, like before I talked to anyone and I was first seeing it. I'm like, should I be feeling this way? Should I be? I feel a little weird, like shipping them, because I'm like very confused. Mel says that if she had black hair, it would have looked weird. It would have. And I kind of wish they wouldn't have done that. But she said she's shipping them too. We'll see what happens, guys. We'll see what happens. But anyways, thank you so much, April, for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
You were great. I'm sorry I talked way too much about Loki and Sylvie.
No, that's what this episode was about. We needed to talk about Loki and Sylvie. So.
Yeah, I know. I texted her before, and I was like, just a forewarning, I'm going to be flailing about Loki and Sylvie a lot. It's going to happen. I tried to get everything else out of the way first, though, because I knew it was going to be happening. But I do have linked down below in the description box. I have April's channel linked down below, and I also have her shop called Ann Lou 2, where she makes some really awesome ears. I'm going to show your Loki alligator ears again.
I really, really
so cute.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to keep this pair for myself, but I am going to put these up on my shop next week after I get some photos taken this weekend. So.
Yeah. Okay. And what else do you have coming on your channel and on your shop? What do you got coming up?
I don't know. I need to film Magic Mail Monday, which I'll probably film tomorrow, just of all the awesome things that you sent me because they need to be shown. And then no, I love all of it. And honestly, this has been in a box waiting to be filmed until today. So I'll probably get off here and film that. And Dollar Tree and a lot of back to school stuff. Sorry if there's any teachers in here that are like, no. But back to school is in full-fledged for us. So a lot of back to school things.
Yeah, I went in my Dollar Tree today and I was like, dang, there's a lot of back to school stuff out right now. Yes. Mel asked, are you doing Year of the Year this month, April?
I am. I'm planning on doing every Year of the Year that there is out there because I say at every video that it is my favorite day of the month. I absolutely love Year of the Year, and I know Kaylee's doing it too. So, and you said you opened your ears today.
I just did. They were Marvel themed, and they were really cute. I can't wait to show you guys. And also, April, if you guys didn't know, is my official ear maker. I mean, I'm like all official and everything because I have an official ear maker in April, and she's awesome and does a really great job. So I'm excited to see what all. I love watching everyone's videos though, and like
I do too. I love seeing all the ears. I have not opened mine yet because I'm waiting Emma to get back because she knows the spill about it, and I just love letting her go.
Letting her talk.
Yeah. So I've been waiting for her to get home so I can film it.
Yeah, it was interesting. I will say a little hint. The ones I got, I have not actually seen the movie yet, but that even makes me like, I know the character, but I almost like getting some of those because it helps. It helps because I can wear them now to like watch.
Oh,
yeah, and that was kind of last month. Last month, I got some Pegasus ears, and I hadn't seen Hercules yet, and I was like, "This is perfect. I have ears where I can watch Hercules now." So, yeah, Mel says she hasn't opened her ears yet, and April does make amazing ears. She really does.
Mel.
These are awesome. These are actually by Crazy Kylie 14, and I was going to show the ones you made me, April, but they're not in the vicinity. I did wear them I wore those and I wore these for my unboxing. So yours did get in my unboxing a little, but I had a video especially for those ears. So I was like, man, I've got to get that video up before Year of the Year comes up, or it's just going to be like, why did I like make a video of ears I've already shown?
Yeah.
She wants to film hers at the beach. I wish I was at the beach.
Wait, your Marvel Year of the Year, or like
to film mine at the beach? I guess you're talking about Year of the Year, and I just want to film at the beach all the time. I spit a little.
I mean, total beach vibes, but I'm wondering if like maybe her Marvel ears have a beach theme or something. Which I'm trying to think what would have a beach. I don't know.
April got me some Iron Man ones. She made me some Iron Man ones though. I will say, this will end it. I will say Iron Man, I still love him. I will always love him. I will always love him because no one else does. And I cannot ever jump ship because I feel like he will have no one. I am just like the only one who like, he will support him. But Loki has become my favorite Marvel character as of right now. Loki is it. And Sylvie honestly has made her way up there for me, which is a shock because she's newer. But like she's up there. I don't know everyone yet because I'm still getting 3 people. But for right now, Loki is like number 1 for me. Sorry, Iron Man. I'm sorry it had to happen.
I think Loki kicked Bucky out of spot 2. Like I can't give up spot 1, but
yeah, I know. I was about to say, for a second, I was like, April, did you just like down? Because that would have been something. That would have been something. Bucky's up there for me. And like, I love Captain America too. Obviously not as much as you do. I think I don't know. But Sylvie, I'm just really interested to see where they go with her character. Oh, okay. She says she hasn't opened them yet, but she'll be at the beach this week for her anniversary. Wait, so are you gonna? I guess you said you want to. Oh, I get it. She said you want to film yours at the beach, so you're waiting. You're waiting to film. I get you.
I got him. That makes sense.
I understand now. I understand.
Get that good like beach background noise going as you're. Oh, I love it.
Yes. All right. Well, anyways, guys, we're gonna end it here. But thank you, April, so much for joining, and thank you everyone who came to listen to me mostly just flail about Loki and Sylvie. And yeah, it was a good live chat. I cannot believe next week is the last episode.
It's it.
I'm so sad. I'm so sad. It doesn't need to be it, but I will see you next week. I don't know. I don't have my plans yet on what all I'm going to be doing next week. I usually do a live show, like of actually watching it, but Tim and Katie, who usually are the ones that kind of
coordinate it
together, they coordinate it for me because they love doing them, and I love doing them too. They are going to have their anniversary. I'm assuming it's John Claire. I mean, it's also your anniversary.
It is her anniversary.
Yeah,
it's Steve's birthday too. So I think
I don't know. I may be alone, or we may I don't know. I don't know how we're gonna do it. We will work it out. But regardless, I'll probably cry. I probably did just I'm gonna film it, but I'm probably gonna cry. I don't need to cry on live stream. But anyways, let's go. I'm terrible at ending these things. Okay. Anyways, bye.
Bye.